Well, it depends how famous you are. How many viewers do you have?
Maybe two.
How much advertising?
I love that commercial with the guys dancing. He said, I have tens and tens of viewers. Be about what mine would be.
Call them.
Mine is short and sweet.
Call a meeting to order of the Calvert City Water and Sewer Board at 4:32 p.m. on March 17th, 2022. Do I need to have approval of the minutes of the January 20th, 22 meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Michael Ford, motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Bill Kunicki, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. All right, we have two guests with us tonight. Welcome. George and Gary and Beverly Betts.
No, Gary Baxter, Beverly.
Oh, okay, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I did that wrong.
Okay, all right, sorry about that. Made an assumption I shouldn't have made there.
Everybody does.
Okay, all right. Do you all have something to bring to the board or,
Yes.
okay?
We live over on Lone Valley Road next to the water tower.
Does she need to stand up at the mic?
Can you hear me?
Well, we may need you to be recorded. So if you'll stand at that mic right
I
there,
need to turn it on.
that would be good.
I don't think it's on.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Need to.
We just
a
want
little
to see
bit
if
more.
A little more?
There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. We live on Lone Valley Road next to your pump house. Where the wells are.
Yeah, right next to wells 4 and 5 on the north side of the road.
4 or 5. Well, when it rains, like the last rain, that totally floods out the front of our property. Bad, sometimes over the road, and we can't come out the driveway. My question is, every year when Roger was here, he would come in and drudge that your part, because it comes from J.C. Blake Lane across our property through our culvert, and then it goes across yours that goes like this. And you got water coming in from Keith's property, which is, I mean, it's a tremendous amount of water. And then it doesn't go anywhere. It stops there because it's not dug down enough. You know what I'm talking about? He would dredge it, get rid of the weeds. I know Elvin mows, but it's before he mows that they used to come in and take and get rid of all that. And then it goes on down and then past J.C. Blake Lane, there's a little problem down there too. Now the guy in the White House, I don't know the addresses. He did his. He made it all pretty. Even is it Cypress? Cypress Creek? Is that he even cleaned all that up by the bridge. I don't know if you ever been down there, but I'm telling you, from 9 years we've lived there, I mean, it looks spectacular because he is taking all that out. So that water, because he used to come up to his back door and he fixed his problem, but our problem we can't fix until that's drudged. We've even
What do you
thought
mean
about-
drudge? I'm just.
Well,
not
they take
concerned.
this big machine and they come in and they just cut the,
An excavator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they clean all this.
and we've even thought about putting a pond in to help with that water problem. You know, somebody said, well, we need to take and dig a ditch down alongside our driveway. Well, we do that, then that little white house in front of us is gonna get flooded and we're not doing that. We could do that, but we're not doing that. Because I'm not having that little house flood out. Robert's house. He don't live there no more, but,
Is it the ditch in front of the house that you're talking about along the road? Is it the ditch along the road?
the ditch,
It's on our property.
yeah, it comes through, it's your ditch on your property.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No,
Is
it's
that-
not, it's the one that goes, it snakes around.
That's around what?
It's not next to Lone Valley Road.
Okay, so it's
So-
not the ditch, it's not the storm water drainage along the road.
No, because you called me that day whenever it was
Mhm.
raining, said, come down here, take a look
Yeah,
at
if you
it.
can-
And that was the first thing I did was
Yeah.
drove down there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay,
I believe the area we're talking about is pretty much right before we get to the actual pump house itself. Like there, like whenever you pull in our gravel road,
mhm,
you go down, there's a culvert,
Mhm.
75 to 100 feet. I'm just guessing here, but it's just a little bit before we get to that white pump house. And that's the
In
area
the
that
front.
we're
Mhm.
talking about.
Mhm.
Yes,
yeah, it's in the
yes,
front, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So no, it not road ditch. No, not a road ditch. It's on the area we're talking about is on the side of our access road going through there, but not county road ditch. No.
Cause
If
we
you
have,
stand- if you stood, I'm sorry, if you stood on our property, up at our house, it goes in through our culvert, it's draining off our property, but then when it gets almost to your generator,
Get to the white
It
building
goes-
where the generator.
you can see the ground has elevated. So you got low, and then yours is elevated, and then it drops off and goes on down kind of to the ditch. So you've got, I don't know, if you figure if you got a 2 foot elevation or a 18 inch, that's a lot of 18 inch water back up onto our property. And I'm just hoping that if it was open, it'd probably go on down as long as the other.
we've talked
homeowners
to
clean
the
theirs out.
JC Blake people. We told them, you know, the JC Blake Road, that street. Yeah, we've talked to those people and we've told them, you know, you need to get that cleaned up because when that road goes out, when your road washes away, you're gonna have to put it back. Because that is not a county road, that is not a city road. It's your road. And they just look at me like, you know, what? Well, that's true. I've even went to Marshall County and asked them, is that a county road or a city road? And they said, no, it's JC Blake's road. Don't know why, but it is.
Okay.
So I have told them they need to get their act together over there, or it's gonna cost them a lot of money.
Part of that problem out there, Greg, is all of that is, we were looking in John's office there, and all of that is in the low floodplain
Yeah.
area. All of it is in the floodplain. Yeah, so,
And that area there was first made by the Corps of Engineers. The guy was telling us like 40 some years ago or what, a long time ago. So all that silt and that built up. And I don't have a transit to shoot it or nothing, but you just, it's tall enough that you can just see it by the eyes, looking at where it raises up. Because we mow some of that behind your, because it's right next to us, so we keep that all clean and everything there, so. I just, we're concerned that, it's not gonna get to our house, because we're elevated, but everything else backs up there. And goes
Well,
down.
it backed up so far. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Backed up so far that the house behind us, the things were on. He had to go get a sump pump because it backed up this last spring up into his, and there was nothing we could do for him, but he had to go get a sump pump. So every year just seems to get a little bit worse. So, but if you could just come in and whatever that's called, I mean, I think that would be a big help.
Is it a drainage ditch? What's he talking about?
Yes, it's. Once again, y'all weigh in here. To me, and I'm not a dirt guy by any means, to me, it looks like it used to be a natural drainage
Mhm,
area. There's a culvert that goes underneath y'all's driveway.
Two of them.
Okay, you'd have to point out the second
Yeah.
one to me, but there's a culvert that goes underneath their driveway. I don't know dirt, that's not what I do. What I offered was, I was gonna see if Brad could run out there with me sometime. He knows dirt work far better than I ever will. Had it all set up for the week it was pouring rain, and then once it dried up, we got busy.
Sure. Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely didn't forget about
Oh,
y'all by
I
any
know,
means.
yeah.
And I think that, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I think Brad would be able to assist me in evaluating it and seeing if there was anything that we could possibly do on our end. I can't sit here and tell you that if we come in and excavate, I don't know. I know water sewer, I don't know dirt. So if you want to grow some hay, I can show you how, but not on drainage. And to me, I think that would probably be the best starting place is maybe have Brad go out there. meet with y'all if y'all are okay with that, so that way,
We'll point it out.
because they're out there every day. They know where the water gets up to. You know, I did go down there, spend about 20 minutes that day. It was raining. I didn't want to get soaking wet, but I could definitely see the area that y'all were talking about whenever you called me that day. Solution, I don't know.
It's like a little creek. It is on your side, which is kind of like snakes around, and it comes over to the second culvert.
Is it a creek that's always been
No,
there?
it's just where it's, that's just how
I
it's
don't know,
ran.
a lot of it's on your all's property, not
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah,
It's more of just a natural drainage.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, summertime it's dry as a bone. If it rains, there's water. Not really, it's more of a natural drainage in my mind.
It'd
That's
have
what
to
I
be-
would call it.
It had to be dry for quite a while. 'cause
Yes.
It's gonna stay in there a long time with the weeds and
Yes.
grasses that are in there.
Yeah.
And then, I
So-
mean, it holds the water pretty
Yeah.
good, because our guys that mow ours, they mow our ditch out too,
Yes,
that we hire, and they have to pick and choose when they can do it.
Yeah.
Because they'll get stuck in hours. if, you know,
it stays very saturated.
Yes,
It stays very wet. Yes.
Well, we will appreciate you coming and everything and letting us know of the problem. And Silas will get with Brad, who works for the other part of the city, the
Maintenance.
Street department.
street
Street
department
department.
and so forth. And they'll come out and take a look at that. We'll say that we can only work on city property,
Sure. Well, we don't want
which
you to
would be,
we're-
Oh,
ours
no, no, we
is
got
good.
ours. You can
Ours
look at
taken
our
care
yard.
of.
For the, what we have out in the front, it looks pretty darn good. Is it grass? No, but we make it look really nice.
so,
Far from good,
yeah.
so far.
And across the road, you know, when they repaved, the county came in and paved our road that last summer.
Mhm.
And after you all dug across it for your wells and then.
And
they
put them
fixed all that.
culverts in.
And the county came in, and they put brand new bigger culverts, took the concrete ones out that were breaking up. And replaced them, but on that curve, you know where that 90-degree turn is right there? There is no, it's like they're hoping everything out of that field by your pumps or by where your other little generator is.
Yes.
That water will flow them in Keith's pastures.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that, but they didn't extend anything down in front of 1043. They just, and that's where you all dug across,
Yes,
when you put that new water line, when you put the
yes,
new wellhead over there.
Yeah.
And the county never did a mess. You want it to flow one side of the road or another, right? Is usually what you do on a long highway, either going to flow on one side or the other side. Well, it goes down in front of 1043 and about halfway in their property, that's where the big one comes back onto our property, into our big ditch, and then on down to Cypress Creek. So we're getting two waters coming into on our property. But they didn't, I asked the county, well, why didn't you just make the ditch? You know, it doesn't have, and they just left it flat in front of where Keith's mailbox
Yes.
is and where your line went across.
yes.
That's totally flat, and that just turns into a lake for some reason. I didn't understand, because you can't, there's nothing gonna flow on the other side because there's no,
So should we talk to the county more on that? Or is that-
about that part of it, since that's county going across.
I
Your,
would, I
property.
would think on that would be county. I mean,
County?
there's,
It would be, but you might want to let Brad,
yeah,
you know, the
Okay.
truth is, we don't have anybody sitting around this table that understand drainage and dirt
Sure.
work.
Right.
yes.
But Brad understands drainage and
Sure.
dirt work wonderfully.
Mhm.
So,
Has he been here a while?
yeah,
Yes.
several years.
He may have been out there and talked to us, and he's the one that said, well, when the ground has totally changed from when they came out. The Corps of Engineers, is that what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he said, all of it, not just us, not just, ground has just changed over these 40 years,
Yeah.
where that dirt that went this way now goes this way, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
But he might have been out there, already. So, no, and we're always on Silas. So.
Yeah, and I've got your phone number
Sure.
and, you know, I'll go ahead, whenever we get out of the meeting, I'll give Brad a holler and see if we can schedule something for like first part of next week, while it's fresh on our minds.
Okay,
And before I get sidetracked on another job.
just not Tuesday.
Okay, not Tuesday.
Not Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Well,
I just have one more question. It doesn't have to do with it. When do they have a meeting here about covenants, issues and
Basically maintenance issues or the roads or picking up the trash. This man picks up the trash from our house in Lone Valley all the way down to Fifth. And that's the county. But then he more or less will stop and pick up the trash from Fifth all the way down to McDonald's. And he's wondering, and he's thinking that's your all. So he's wondering when, whatever that, whoever that is, maintenance or.
Are you guys in the city?
No,
No.
Oh.
we take
but he
care
still
of it.
cleans up,
We
he
take
still
care of
picks
it.
up.
He's saying from
Fifth,
Fifth up
62.
to McDonald's, remember that road that we built there,
Ford
the
Square,
freeway? Ford Square.
So
Whose is that?
what
It's city,
department?
that's in the city.
I mean,
Okay.
But
the
what
city,
department is it?
you're doing everything. I
For
mean,
a
we
week.
love it.
I mean, for
We
just
love this
cleaning
town.
up the ditches? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
it's
Just
not
It's
the
everything
picking up
on the
trash?
shoulders of
Yeah.
the road. There's beer
In the
cans.
grass, yeah.
Yeah, that's street department. That's Brad. When Brad
Street
comes,
department, okay.
when Brad comes out there and look at your
Okay.
your
We'll talk to
land.
him too.
Yeah, so
And I've
Brad,
talked to a few of the officers and I know they can't be everywhere. And
right,
the people that do this, they're ashamed of themselves because they know it's wrong and they do it. But you could clean it up and you could turn around and come back where you just weren't and there's some already, you know, they just, nobody, you can do everything you can to this town to make the parks. Well, you had a problem with the park too. Over in the bathrooms over there, they had to lock it up or something. They were vandalized and that. I heard, but you know, you get into all this and you've made the bike trails and the paths and everything in the parks. And I mean, we really love it in this town. But, you know, I don't care what you do, you can't make everybody think. You can do as much as you can, but other people would not.
It's
Give-
kind of like a
give
forgotten
beans.
road in a way. We literally watched somebody take all their tree limbs and throw them in the middle of the road on Lone Valley County. We spoke to, we had a state trooper up here. We spoke to him about it. We even followed the guy where he went and gave him the address because that was just wrong. They're thinking they can come out to the counties or these little cities and dump what they want. That's not right.
well, Brad is the guy,
Brad.
Brad Streets, so when you see him next week or whenever y'all get
Yeah.
together, just
Brad.
mention it to Brad and see what he says.
Okay, and my other thing is, I think I'll hire a new covenants, or appoint a new covenant.
It's not a covenant.
Are you talking about enforcement of
Yeah,
nuisances?
enforcement issues on
We've got a-
properties and
We
stuff.
got a guy that's working on that. yeah.
Right, okay, I understand. Because the reason I'm saying this, and I'm a fanatic about it, is, you know, I'd like this town to grow.
Sure.
And have more, you know, everything that
Spit
everybody
it out
wants.
here. It's not
But-
for me.
You know, you redone the city courthouse, it looks great. And then you let this doctor have this building next door to you that the roof's falling off and that. All right, that's one, if somebody was coming in to buy a home here, that's for, it. You know, because people are gonna drive around, see the neighborhoods and.
His main
what they
complaint
can.
is the Kentucky Fried Chicken building. He's gonna get to that.
That doctor's left that thing for over 8 years. And-
Well, I would tell you, city council, that, yeah, this group here, we are about the stuff underground.
Right, and I understand it, so that's why we need.
City
we wanna
council's
grow.
above
Okay, I got. 2 counselors, so we're gonna let these guys have their meeting.
Right.
But I appreciate your
Yeah.
love of this area. This guy and I, several of these people have been here for
Oh, we've talked to.
50, 60
Talked to,
years.
Taco Bell managers up at Paducah, and we're telling them about this lake over here and what they've done with the new road and everything going on. We got another truck stop, and I think there might be something else going up on that hill that
But,
they've been excavating
but
it.
the Taco Bell would be nice here.
Because we don't,
Yes.
you know, we need to grab that revenue, or I
You
don't
don't
know.
need to tell them, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank you.
concern.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks for
you,
your
thank you,
time.
gentlemen, ladies.
All right, take care.
All right. Yeah, we get the city rebuilt and everything. So
It's always something in there.
Yeah.
In there, Silas, there's always something, right?
Job security.
Yes. Good answer.
We're recording, yes.
Good answer. I like that.
All right. Review of the welcome, Barry.
Thank you. Some people like to make an entrance.
Yeah.
We'll start at 4:30. Well, you know, we had a time change in between the last meeting. and all. Yeah, that's it. When your hair gets its color.
All right, quick overview of the financials. This is through February statement. The revenue on the water budget tracking is about 55,000 greater than what we budgeted, which is a very positive note there. And looking down the expenses, couple of areas that just mentioned, I don't think it's anything great, but problem, but I noticed that Silas has used up his budget in professional and technical fees. And he's also used up his budget in office supplies. And so he's gonna have to start stealing from the city. Oh, I'm on my, I shouldn't say that.
Steal as much as I can.
I think that's what it is.
The water bills, yes, probably is. But the total expenditures is 828,000 against a budget of 765,000. But all in all, the operating income is about a break even with what we budgeted, short about $8,000, which is a positive with the increase there. And so the water is,
Can we say-
yes, ma'am.
And we did do what I did put on the $4 flat fee, but it will be next month's report before we'll see that,
See that? Okay.
see any changes.
Okay.
Those bills, those payments are just now coming in.
The sewer revenue is also up 23,000 above what we budgeted for, which is also a positive. Couple items again that just noted out that are a little bit over what we budgeted, but still not bad, is again the office supplies and the other materials and supplies there. Just a minor couple of things. The profit is 500 and expenditures, sorry, not profits. Expenditures is 580,000 total against a budget of 563. We're doing okay there. And the net income or the loss, we're at 102,000 against a budgeted 157,000 for the period of time. So we're got a positive there. And if my calculations are correct, I tried to do a quick combined, both water and sewer together. And we're about 156,000 net profit. And we budgeted a net profit of about 104,000. So financially, we're doing well, holding our own. On the trial balance report, our cash balance is $1,132,000 at the February the 28th, compared to last year it's 702,000. So our cash is good there. The loan from the city, or the advance from the city, I guess it is we've got that down to 450,000. We've been paying roughly 5,000 a month on that. In that cash balance there, Glenda, you mentioned to me that included in that is where you're putting some money aside for the KIA loan payments. Is that,
I am
am I
doing a
correct on that?
Sinking fund or a loan reserve. So that would be in that account 80,000,115. I'm doing 16,000. But that amount is still included in this total cash. So understand that I've set aside 128,000 of that 1,132,000 to, I just didn't start another checking account for it, but I have set it aside in that account to start making those wastewater treatment plant loan payments.
That start when?
They said they would start 6 months after we started drawing.
Yes, I
So-
believe that's correct. We should see it.
I think it'll
Real soon.
probably start before too long.
We'll
And
do the
that
best we
loan,
can.
what is that loan? How much is it?
It's gonna be about 90,000 every 6 months, I think. It's,
We're drawing 90,000 a month. Every 6 months.
no, I mean, that's what our payment will be.
Oh, I
I
got
thought
you.
that's what you meant.
No, what's the loan balance? That's,
The loan
I have it
balance.
on here. Notes
We're still
payable,
drawing against it.
820.
yeah, it's kind of
Today-
hard to say what it is.
Today, we've taken 1,664,288. It's that account 80,000,245, notes payable. KIA wastewater treatment plant, 820-018.
What was the first number you said? Oh,
It's on the next page.
next page.
This one right here.
Got it.
All right, on the quick update on the Influent lift station status. I think they're continuing
Yeah, so
to come along and work and
yeah, right now they're focusing on the valve vault, or all the work right now is being done on the valve vault, and they're starting to lay the gravity sewer line.
where does that line go to? It goes to the river. Is that the one that goes to the river?
The gravity sewer line is what's gonna come from our old Influent lift station and go to the new one. So this is what's flowing all the poop to the station to get pumped. So I think it's like 370 feet or so, but it's a very large line going through very bad ground. So it'll be slow go.
Coming from rail services, though.
Yes,
Tank
coming from,
sewer.
yeah, so where the sewer line comes underneath the railroad tracks and goes into into our channel grinder. What they're gonna do is there's a manhole that's already sitting there. So they're gonna set another manhole and then make the tie-in right there and then bypass everything, tanks and all that, and then just come straight to the facility. So they're in the process. I think today they actually put the first piece of pipe in there. I wasn't down there much today, but they were in the process of it today. So,
Okay.
and that's a 30-inch sewer main, so it's
And it's
very large.
And it's gonna be gravity flow, so the slope and
Yes,
depth and all of that is
work
kind
out.
of a critical.
Yeah, slope depth's very critical. This is gonna be a very hard line to install, because number one, you're going through very poor ground. And, it's on double minimum fall, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. I mean, it's pretty much a flat line going in there, just very, very shallow slope to it, because of the elevation. That was all we could do.
Why is the ground so poor in that area? Is it the water flows through that
It's-
area or?
Yes, it stays saturated.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time you really see it dry is June, July. I mean, it stays very saturated. It catches a lot of drainage water, it comes through. It's poor condition.
Okay. All right, I put in a item of upcoming water projects to give us an update on some of them that are already in place. And then there's a couple in here that are potential projects that we can talk about a little bit. Get you all up to date. The O'Reillys, where are we on that?
Okay, so they do not have we do not have the completed plan yet. I was down at the engineer's office last week, and whenever I say we don't have the completed plans, because they haven't stapled it together. Everything's been drawn up. Everything looks real good. We're reviewing it. Still want to make sure everything looks good. So we don't have it in our hands yet, but I would expect to see it very soon. And he's the engineering firm is doing their best to get us an accurate estimate on the cost of it, but right now that changes week to week. So, they're really estimating things high, so that way we maybe have a realistic number, but who knows? Once we put it out for bid, that'll let us know if their number was close or not. But the project itself looks great. I was very happy with how everything was laid out. I think the project looks great, and hopefully by next board meeting, I'm telling you, we got it in our hand and we can get it out for bid.
Okay. All right, the above ground storage tank maintenance
Yes.
plan, did you get that?
So, the above ground storage tank maintenance, so last board meeting we had, I came to y'all, asking for a recommendation to look at that. I haven't sent it out yet. I haven't sent the bids out yet because I've been doing a little bit of follow-up and a couple extra questions that I had about it. This is new to me. So I've had a couple extra questions and all that. I feel very confident by the next board meeting, it'll be out and, maybe be able to get some pricing on that pretty quick.
Where is that again?
The above ground storage tank is the real big concrete looking tank that sits at the water plant.
Okay.
That's the 1.5 million gallon storage tank.
Okay.
Mhm. And the reason we're needing the maintenance done on it is because one of the vents on the top, like whenever the vents come up, they turn, and one of the vents is showing severe weather damage would be my best guess. So we need to get that replaced, and then need another. The tank's not going to get painted, but they have that and I can't think exactly what it's called right now, but they have the compound that they spray on it that bridges the gaps, and of course it'll look like a fresh paint job, but it's not just paint. It's that specialized compound that bridges the gaps, any cracks in it, stuff like that. So should get this done, should really extend the life of the tank.
That was where you're just gonna run a diver down there too, weren't you?
Yeah, that's part of the reason, and I won't get into the weeds on this one. That's part of the reason I haven't got everything completed yet, because I've been talking with them. Because right now it would be very hard for us to take that tank offline for several hours. We have a lot of usage right now. We have very high demand right now, and to be honest, I would be concerned that I couldn't draft off the water tower long enough to put a diver in there. And in order for a diver to go in, it has to be completely shut down, for their safety. So I'm looking at options of having the robot, put the robot down in there and do the inspections. I'm looking at options right now, and I want to make sure before I send it out, I've explored every option. So that way, we don't run the water tower super low.
Right. Okay, good. Okay, and I had the water well maintenance program on here also. We were looking at the.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of follow-up conversations with Emily. Once again, looking at some other options. Still, would really like to do the maintenance program on the wells, but we're going to have them coming all the way down here, and they offer a lot of services, so I wanted to make sure we got the best bang for our buck on that before I send it to Greg to review the contract. And of course, ultimately it had to be signed by the mayor, but still looking at a couple options on that. And so.
Is that with Wayne?
Yes, well, yes.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be with Lane, but
That's
the initial thought would be with Lane. Yes.
Okay. The other one that just came to my mind that I didn't put on the list was, didn't we have something going on PB Cloud?
Yes. Yeah. So the Mulberry and PB Cloud, whenever the pad office, with the money that came to the state, I put in, well, I didn't. Our engineering firm put in our project on Mulberry and PB Cloud. I call it a Mulberry PB Cloud. It's two different roads, the same project. We are still waiting to see if we're going to get any funding on that one. I really need some funding in order to be able to do that project. So we're still waiting to see if any funding will come our way on that. Either me or the engineer, we check once a week, make some phone calls, and they still haven't released anything yet. So keep your fingers crossed.
Okay. All right, the next item is a new item, and Silas has been talking with a potential contractor to put in 25 condos, duplexes, I believe, along Highway 62, right past
Camelot subdivision.
Camelot subdivision. And so they're looking at water and in order to sell that, to get more revenue for revenue, if we could work out an arrangements to get them tied on to sewer as well, which I know there's some, we can do the water without conflict, but with the sewer, I think the sewer program ordinance, correct me, Greg, that has to have they have to be willing to be annexed.
Yes.
Am I correct there?
So this is outside of Calvert City.
If it's outside of the city, it's outside of the city, and you're wanting sewer, part of the ordinance requirement is that you sign an agreement allowing yourself to be annexed. Now, there was some litigation over that, over such a provision. Cities have done that for a while, and there was some litigation, and I have not updated that research, so I'm not positive what the status is of our ability to do that, but that's what our current policy says, and we have the documentation ready to do that transaction.
If you can look back here, is that R2 right there? Is that Camelot, the little brown R2 there? And
Yes.
so we're talking, is it literally adjacent to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have sewer now?
Basically, that tract right there, isn't it?
Is it?
It's that little tract that sticks out off the edge of
I
this.
can't see that far.
Is there, what's the county zoning on that? The county
There is no
doesn't
zone.
require,
There is no zone.
unless you do a septic tank on a project like that?
Almost square. That's it right there. the
Be the
25
county
acres.
health department, I think.
So
or
we
whoever
haven't
handles
already
that.
annexed that, you're saying?
No,
No,
That
the
many-
city,
Buildings and that
I
much
mean,
sewage is gonna
whenever
be.
you pull the
Yeah,
GIS,
my
of the
opinion.
city
And
line
a
is
playground?
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
so we
think that
have
the county
sewer, we're
would
pumping something
that.
from Camelot now.
Yes, they. if-
Well,
if-
they're going
if-
well.
If they were to tie into city sewer, I could not allow them to tie into the pumping line.
Yeah.
Because I could easily, with our big pumps, I could easily out pump them and then get ready for some sewer backups with pressure. So I could not let them tie into the pumping line. If they were to tie into sewer, I see two feasible options. Number one would be for them to, correct me if I'm wrong. Number one would be for them to get their own easements and run a pumping line. It could not be gravity. Run a pumping line to Camelot Lift Station. After looking at the map, it looks like they'd have to cross at least two private properties before they got to city property. Option number two is there's a manhole. I don't know the road names off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Whenever you pull in Camelot subdivision, first road on the right-hand side, Windsor, I believe. Don't quote me.
It's not a bad guess.
Go all the way down that road.
Yeah.
Their property, actually, the corner of it is very close to touching that road.
Okay.
And there's a manhole in the intersection. So as long as that gravity line would be able to flow the potential of,
Windsor is correct.
okay, as long as that gravity line would be able to flow potentially what they're talking about, that would be the easiest tie-in place. But I would have to get our engineers to run it through our model to make sure that that sewer line would flow it. Common sense, it'll flow it because number one, not all the pumps are going to kick on at the same time. But I would want the numbers backing me up saying if something did happen, power went out for 2 days and all of a sudden your power came back on and everybody's pump kicked on at the same time, I'm not going to have an overflow, right? So, we would have to look at that option. I would have to look at the numbers on that option.
Seems like I remember Roger talking about though, we needed you know, one of these days, one of these 5 to 10 year projects, work on Camelot, that it's been out there a long time and there's maintenance issues.
Camelot, on the sewer side, Camelot needs a lot of work.
Okay.
I cannot give you an answer on how to approach that right now.
Yeah. Understand. I
the-
mean, you got a few things going on here.
Definitely something to always keep in the back of your mind that Camelot needs a lot of work. Camelot's an aging system. Almost all of the sewer mains are in the backyards, which is what we tried getting away from on the heights. We have been struggling with other utilities on cleaning the right of way. We can't clean the right of way because there's transformers, you know, everything's underground in Camelot, so there's transformers. I can take you to a spot and show you where there's a wad of phone lines that big laying on top of the ground that just, well, not phone lines, internet. But I can show you where there's a wad of lines that big laying on the ground that just branches off everywhere. So if I was to try to go through there with an excavator, sidearm, bush hog, whatever, I mean, you think water and sewer department's hated right now, just wait till we get done in Camelot. You know, nobody'd have internet, nobody'd have phone, and more than likely, nobody'd have power because we'd hit those transformers. Because they're green, just like the brush we're cutting. We have been working on that. That was something that Roger was working on, something that I'm still working on. And we're struggling making progress on it. Trying to get other utilities, phone, cable, you know, Time Warner, all them, trying to get them to assist us in cleaning the right of ways. Because frankly, I'm not gonna go in there and clean my right of way for everybody to use it. And then people just throwing lines on top of the ground. Trying to tread lightly. If you want my honest opinion, ask me after the meeting where I can cuss a little bit.
Yeah, that's a headache.
But yes, Camelot is,
We don't have ordinances that can address utility companies being uncooperative and supporting the infrastructure we
On
do.
city property, we do.
not saying that they're uncooperative, but
Okay, this is a mix of that.
the good thing about, we've always wanted a dual feed going in Camelot on the water side. Because Camelot's a low pressure area. Anytime something happens in Camelot, we have to just completely shut Camelot off. With the potential of this water extension, that gives us the opportunity to run a dual feed into Camelot. So that's something to consider. That gives us a very good opportunity to run a dual feed into Camelot. And, you know, we'd be sitting real good at that point on water. Sewer's a different story, but on water, we'd be sitting real good. A lot of roots in Camelot.
Imagine.
A lot of roots.
There's a good opportunity if we can work it out where we could get several. That would be, if it's duplexes 25, he gets all 50 in there, and that's a pretty good chunk of revenue coming in through that. And then if we add that, if there is a way and they're agreeable, we could potentially hook sewer in, and that would add that much more to sewer revenue as well coming in.
I'd love to have the water and sewer revenue off of 50, you know, and they're saying potentially, you know, they're wanting to do this in phases, see how it goes, but you know, they're saying potentially could be 50 duplexes. I'd love to have the revenue off that.
It's like this, isn't there a similar development on the other side of that road?
Yes.
Not far from there.
An individual did build a development on the other side of the road. To my knowledge, they use septic tanks. Of course, we, you know, there's water there. In that case, we just made a 1.5 inch water tap, and that individual pays the water for all of the housing there. This individual is actually looking at having individual meters at for every household. So they are really thinking about, I mean, what we call a water extension. You know, they put the mains in, of course, by state standards, get everything permitted. After a year, we take it over and we have water main and X number of water meters. So, And then at that point, we've got the water main and potentially we could tie it in to be our dual feed into Camelot, which would help everybody out. So a lot of considerations there, but
This is land, can we talk about this? This guy, whoever, the group, whatever, do they own this land already?
they just purchased it.
We talk about how much land we have in Calvert City. Why don't we have developers like this buying land in Calvert? Well, I mean, but didn't we bring in a group to study this about Calvert City, about how we could grow Calvert City? So why, I mean, is council talking about this, or are we following up on that? I guess we need Blair in here, right, to address some of that. Why is somebody gonna really go for it here and they're doing it? I don't mind them doing it. I don't have problems. Free country. If you got the money, I'm good. But we need to reflect on, I don't know if the utility board, the water board. There's land, there's lots of land in Calvert.
And
Are we promoting that zone development within what we've already got city limits? Maybe they're wanting to avoid city limits. I don't know.
well, and I'm not gonna speak for this individual at all.
Yeah.
I don't think they were looking for a property in Calvert or outside of Calvert. I think that it was a good opportunity to buy a large tract of land for a very good price.
Got it.
I think that, and
And now
I'm not.
Now they're just
speak
trying to
for them.
develop it
Mhm.
in a way that they can make some income. God
Yes.
bless them. It's
And
America.
and I mean, I've never walked over the lot, but it's a nice little rolling hill. I mean, it would be a very nice place.
Right.
And I don't think that was a selling point or not a selling point that it's not in Calvert City.
Well, let's just
That-
take your point. Is there land in the city that we own that we would have loved somebody to consider a
The
10?
city itself owns?
Yes. I mean, we taking over properties, if we got abandoned properties.
No, the city doesn't generally own residentially developable properties.
Okay,
There's some industrial development.
Yeah.
Maybe the industrial development properties that the city owns. Well, I'm not too far from that. But
right.
the city has not purchased residential property that I can recall.
And it's not really our role, I know.
That's about the little bit.
Is your lift station on the south side of Camelot?
Yes, and they at the very
They
bottom. of
couldn't
Camelot.
come down the side. How much land do they own in relation to Camelot? Does it go that far back?
I can show you with my fingers here.
Okay.
Let me get my bearings though.
But it is.
Okay,
That's what I know.
you see where the tip of my ink pen's at?
Yes.
Roughly, that's where our lift station is.
Uh-huh.
Where my finger is at is the corner of their property. You see the two properties I was talking about having to cross? Oh, wait, no, sorry. Where my ink pen is now. You see the two properties I was talking about having to cross to get to the lift station? If they were to go to the lift station, that would really be the only feasible way. But where their property adjoins right here, do you see this little intersecting road right there?
Okay.
You see the.
Are we talking about Windsor right here?
Yeah, Windsor.
Okay, got it.
Not gonna say what that looks like, but follow me here. That would be the distance they would have to go to get to the manhole. Yeah, I mean, rough estimate, 150 foot. To
Okay,
get to the
my,
manhole.
just going on what we've got there, which is probably not very exact, but if you're gonna be on the west side of this property, depending on how much land they own, and it drops downhill south,
And-
why
and it
wouldn't they
does.
just run a sewer line to the south and tie into your lift station down there?
Or whenever you say sewer line, we're talking gravity or pumping line.
Gravity out of the,
I would be very hesitant to take over a gravity line that was in the Camelot area. Camelot's very hard to dig in and Camelot's very prone to roots.
Okay.
And moving forward, developments, I would highly recommend looking at low pressure pumping systems for developments. Many selling points to that. Of course, I like it, so I'm trying to sell it. But with a low pressure pump system, you will never have a backup in the house because your pump has a check valve on it. If you do have a backup, it'll be at your pump in the yard. You will never have backup in the house. From a cost standpoint, and I'm guessing, don't quote me on this, from a cost standpoint, I'm gonna say it would be very, very expensive to run gravity through here because of the rolling hills. Yes, it does taper off to the south. I would say it would be very expensive to run gravity through there because of the tapering hills. And the fact of the matter is, you can put in a low pressure pumping system far cheaper than a gravity system. I think from our standpoint, a low pressure pump system would be much better because we would not be getting the trash that tends to clog up our pumps. Because whenever you go low pressure, those pumps are grinder pumps. We still get the trash, but instead of it being a sanitary wipe, it's chopped up newspaper. So that would be my recommendation, is that if we were to consider sewer to the property, I would definitely want to consider a low pressure pump system. I think, and honestly, I think it'd be much more cost effective for the individuals putting it in, because they're not gonna have to run it to grade. They can just,
Now, Camelot would be gravity flow.
Camelot is gravity, all of Camelot is gravity, and if they were to tie into the manhole up here, once it tied into that manhole, it would become gravity.
Okay.
Yeah, it would not continue pumping, it would just, like a lift station, whenever it dumps in a manhole, it becomes gravity, yes. And that's actually a very good, that's one of our best sewer mains in Camelot, the one that we're recommended dumping into, because it falls straight down the hill, hits an intersecting manhole that has 2 lines coming in, 1 going out, and then it's about 75 foot to the lift station. So it'd be a short run. You wouldn't really worry about sewer gases, no detention anywhere. It'd be a very short run, very easy from that aspect. Yes. As long as the line would flow it. I can't guarantee you that it will flow it.
What did you say, what acres of land?
It's approximately 25 acres of land. And what their intention is they would like to start developing over on this side first and kind of hook around and come up. Which, once again, I'm not speaking for them. They may get in there and be something completely different. They may get in there and say they don't want to do it at all. But I would like everybody to be aware of the potential water and sewer extension there.
So Greg, annexing means you just extended the city limits and they're gonna pay city taxes as well as collect water and sewer. Like,
When would that, I mean, before we start talking sewer hookup, they would just sign an agreement that's saying they agree to.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily, it doesn't bind the city to annex them, but they have, the current policy says that if they want sewer, they have to agree to consent to annexation. And so then the ball's in the city's court, and the city can decide whether or not they want to annex that area.
So all of he just would consent basically, and then build,
corner of their property,
and then the city would look at it and say,
all that right there.
The city, probably, I don't know what the city would do. The city, at any point after that, the city can decide to annex or not.
Now there's sewer.
correct me if I'm wrong, in the annexing rules, if one individual in a subdivision like that would vote no, you could not annex without that agreement. Is
It's
that
been
correct?
Without the
3
agreement,
years since
that's
I've been in Camelot.
once
Well,
you're saying it's
It
built
drops off pretty steep.
and you try to put sewer in after the fact.
Once it was, he builds and sells lots over there, then each one of the individuals gets a vote on annexation.
Right, it is a vote. It would go to a vote. It wouldn't be that one person could prevent annexation, but it would go to a vote. It's been a long time. Calvert City generally doesn't do contested annexations. They did one about 30 years ago, and I haven't done one since.
But anyway, I wanted to bring that to y'all's attention, that that's a potential out there that we will be looking at, and at some point we will hopefully be able to do that. Maybe some years, but it's on the radar. The other one that I wanted to bring up and talk to you about, the Kentucky Down Village Sewer Project that got started while Roger was here, and the Kentucky Dam Village has been looking at and having engineering work done on redoing all of the sewer within Kentucky Dam Village. Because their system is antiquated and out. So they called recently and had a meeting with you,
Yes.
Silas, to talk about that. It's still on the radar, still potential. So bring us up to date on where we
Yes.
are with that, and then we may need to have a special call meeting to talk with the finance people and so forth about this, so.
Yes, so, couple weeks ago, the engineering firm reached out to us to see if we were still interested in the potential of taking their sewer, not taking their sewer system over, just them dumping their sewer into our lift station, pumping it to us, and then we take it and treat it. I'm definitely interested in this, as long as it works out well for us. So the engineering firm has almost completed the preliminary engineering for the rehab of their system, of the Kentucky Dam State Park system. What the rehab would consist of is pretty much everything north of 62, which is the campground down there. The camp, that would be all low pressure that would pump to a big lift station. Everything at Executive Cottage, all the cottages, the state park itself, they're looking at a mixture of low pressure and gravity. The gravity, they're looking at the options right now of having it lined instead of full replacement. Then they're also looking at full replacement. Pretty much how I left it with them is that I don't feel we could make a very good decision on whether or not we would be willing to take the sewer until they can give us accurate flows. Right now, they cannot give us accurate flows. They're estimating flows, but we don't know what the flows are going to be. So the project, initially, what the project is that they would put a lift station in, off of the walking trail, real close to the golf course. They would put a pretty sizable lift station in, run a force main, and that force main would dump into our gravity sewer that is essentially behind J-Max, in between J-Max and Brad's bait and tackle place. So the sewer would dump in there. It would gravity to the Highway 62 lift station. They would upgrade the lift station to be able to handle the flows, and then our lift station would pump it into our normal system. They gave me some very rough numbers, and I have Chad McCann with Rivercrest. I have him looking to make sure that our gravity system can handle that flow. We know that out there it can, but Highway 62 lift station pumps and then dumps into a manhole and then gravities to Cypress Lakes lift station. So we need to make sure that the line, where it dumps into the gravity would be able to handle the flow. And like I said, they gave me some very rough numbers that we're not even going to talk about because we don't know if it's true or not. They gave me some very rough numbers, and we're going to have to see if our end can handle it. Initially, I think it can. I think it can. I don't think it would ever really limit any growth on 62. If we did have some new businesses come in, I don't think it would really limit any growth. But once we know real numbers, then we have a very good idea. But they're reaching out to see if we're still interested in it. My initial thought is yes, we're still interested, but I'm not going to make that decision. And they requested if we could have a meeting to discuss it in a little bit deeper detail, because they're looking at different options, like for example, us taking control of the lift station, the main lift station, which pumps to us. There's a lot of cons to that. it could work out to our advantage and it could not. So, but they did request a meeting where maybe we could get together again and have a Zoom meeting with the people. A couple of them were from the finance department, a couple of them were from the state parks. It was the last meeting that I had with them had several people in it. No matter what they're gonna do, the rehabilitation of their system, they have to, no matter what they have to. But they don't want to treat the sewer. They want to send the sewer to us to treat it because treating sewer is very expensive. And it's a lot of fun.
Worked there, at the park from 2017 up through right before as the coronavirus was coming in. So being on the facility, maybe 100 people work there and not all of them full time.
Yeah.
In terms of any particular day using toilets is what we're interested in here. Before COVID, I think what we worry about is peak usage when they have conferences, they have youth conferences and things. And I assume most of those are staying there, if they're local, no, but they do not stay booked.
Yeah.
A lot. And so you can almost, you could look at what the worst case scenario is how many rooms do you have in that place?
Yep.
How many conferences do you have? Conferences that don't have people staying there are using those facilities at that conference room that they've redone and those kind of things. But
And just for a rough number that I'll be happy to share, they said that, and I'd have to go get my book out to make sure I'm getting this right. Don't hold me to it's what I'm getting at. They said that during peak season, conferences, state park completely full, that they have seen as high as 80,000 gallons a day of water usage. And that's pretty safe to say most of it goes into the sewer. It's either washing hands, taking a shower, flushing the commode.
right.
Right now, as we sit, our lagoons can handle it. And that's not an everyday number.
It's not.
That's peak.
It's not. But spring, summer, fall.
Yes. But my concern is, okay, we say that we can handle 80,000 gallon a day, not every day, but during peak season, we can handle that 80,000 gallon a day. What happens if we get a 2-inch rain and they haven't taken care of all their I&I? That 80,000 jumps up to 150,000, and then what we're looking at is a pump station that potentially can't pump it all. And that pump station running 24 hours a day trying to get caught back up. Is our station going to be able to handle it? If our station goes down, what do we do?
My experience was they're infamous for letting infrastructure go. And so anything we did, I would want to write into that contract a serious penalty.
Yes.
For stuff where it goes over a certain amount of
Yes.
a piece of change that helps you keep us from destroying our budget.
Yeah. And we would, if we go the route of not taking over their lift station, not taking over their force main, we just keep our lift station and they dump in the gravity and they're responsible for it, which would be my recommendation. And I'm not trying to be negative here. We already maintain 14, 15 lift stations. I don't really want another one to maintain. Lift stations are very expensive to maintain. If we do go the route where we accept their sewer, and they have their lift station that they maintain the force main, we would have to have a flow meter at the lift station so we could monitor it, because we really have no other way to know what to bill for. And then, we probably would have to have the discussion about surcharges after X number of gallons, things like that.
How much, worst case scenario, what percentage would this create inflow compared to where we are now?
What do you mean on that?
How much more capacity do we need to handle theirs?
I think at one point when I was working with Roger on this early on, we were looking at probably, and I think the number, correct me if I'm wrong, so that's somewhere around an average of 50,000 gallons.
which is 20% more, it's 5% more. Where is that in comparison to what we're doing now?
Okay, so on an average day, and there's no such thing as an average day,
You can average that out
We-
over the years.
we normally, our influent flows, no rain, no groundwater.
Yeah.
We normally bring in 250 to 350,000 gallons a day. We operate a 800,000 gallon a day wastewater treatment plant. During non-high flow events, we usually run our plant at about 40 to 50% capacity. So that way we can handle the high flow events and our lagoons don't
Sure.
overflow.
Yes, we don't want any more of that.
The key to making this work, we have to do it anyway. I'm not saying that we don't have to do it. The key to making this work is gonna be following our agreed order and staying on top of our sewer rehab. We have to cut our I&I down no matter what. If we don't cut our I&I down, there's no way we can handle the flows from them.
Okay.
There's no way. If we cut our I&I down to an acceptable level, we can handle the flows.
Roger hoped as we get these meters in that you could be more proactive than reactive. Realistic, not realistic. Is it?
We can be much more proactive on the water side.
Yeah,
On the wastewater side, there's really the amount of, no, on the wastewater side, the meters really don't affect us. Now, if somebody
Okay.
has a leak and it's running in their toilet, yes. On the wastewater side, what it's gonna take is, you know, and it's not a week job, it's not a month job, it's a continuous job that goes on and on.
oh, I know. Yeah.
You know, we're gonna have to put flow meters in sewer mains, try to find where the flow's coming from. Cameron sewer mains, smoke test, which we do,
Yes,
but we have a very large sewer system that's all underground and it
Well,
runs through some places that are.
here's where
pretty
some
difficult to
places I'm
access.
going. I want you to think bigger. Think about where in our system it just can't grow.
Mhm.
We can put more pipes, we can put in more lift stations, but if this one thing, it's a bottleneck.
Yeah.
And it could be our, what we're under, actions here with the state. Is it our water out here, our,
Lagoons.
thank you.
Lagoons-
Is it our lagoons?
Lagoons was part of it
Yeah.
because they were full of sludge. and now
Yes.
we've emptied those
So we've
out.
created capacity, but I'm just
Lagoons,
saying, as we think about, we're gonna hopefully, maybe, are we in position to add another
Yes.
annex there? Are we in position to do this with the state? And if it means, here's one place I'm going, if the infrastructure means you need more personnel, if you're doing this with the staff of 5,
Well,
if you had one more person, wouldn't another lift station bother you then? If you had another full-time person?
if I had 50 full-time people, I still wouldn't want another lift station. But and I don't,
That's what I wanted to hear.
and from a manager.
That's what I want to hear.
And from a manager standpoint, I would have never said that. I wouldn't. But I've been at these lift stations at 2:00 in the morning, at 2:00 in the afternoon. I've had pump trucks coming from every direction to keep a station pumped out. A lift station is not easy to maintain.
Got it.
Even staying on top of preventative maintenance, it's not easy to maintain. Sewer is one of the most corrosive things out there. It's gonna eat pumps up, it's gonna eat rails up. I mean, everything we put in the lift station is stainless steel.
So you're telling me we're just gonna have to pay you more? As if we're gonna talk you into another lift station?
You know,
I mean,
it may be a good time though, because it's, if you watch the state legislators, they're putting a pretty hefty investment in these state parks.
yes,
If that gets through the budget process, that's some pretty serious money
Yes.
that's coming down the
It's
pike. So
once-
it may be a
one
good
time,
time.
it's almost like a generational thing.
Well, it'll be 30 years probably if we get another
Thank
hit
you.
like that, but the timing might be really good if they've got resources available to them. And I don't know how that's gonna be earmarked. I mean, have
Well,
a dime
they're-
in it for infrastructure.
They're gonna finish this rehab of the sewers up here. And I think it behooves us to, whether he likes the lift station or not, to work with them to get it, because it's gonna add ballparkish $130,000 to $140,000 worth of revenue annually
Yes.
into the sewer budget, which is where we're needing money to
Right.
pay for the
Yes.
rehabs and all that we're doing. So we need to get our heads together and figure out how to accommodate. And if there's another way to do it without a lift station, then maybe we need to throw that out on the table.
Yeah, just think about it.
yeah.
I mean, I really want you to, because
Here,
for me, it's
Your
50 years from now.
Your point's good, Bill.
Okay.
What's the choke point?
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
we can figure out where those choke points are, then it's like,
You know.
movie producers, they write, the first thing they do is write the last scene of the movie.
And so
And everything's got to fall
I know we're
to
kind
that
of,
scene, then they know how it's gonna end. And so,
and getting this sewer to the sewer plant is not an issue. Because as long as the gravity on 62 can handle it, which like I said, I've got the engineer gonna be looking at that. As long as the gravity on 62 can handle it, getting the sewer to the sewer plant's not an issue. Because where the Highway 62 lift station, or Highway 62 dumps into gravity that goes to Cypress Lakes lift station.
Yep.
Cypress Lakes dumps into a gravity line that goes and hits that big west side interceptor. I mean, we've talked about the west side interceptor many times. That's a very large line that can handle a bunch of flow. That's not getting it to the sewer plant's not an issue.
okay,
We're building the new Influent lift station that can handle the extra flows. We do have to cut the I&I down no matter what.
yeah.
That's a given, whether we.
is
take
that
those-
realistic? I've heard I&I for years.
Mhm.
What is it that you need? Think about these things. What is it
Yeah.
you need from us? What do we need to support you on? To make that, I mean, I know
Well-
you're wrestling an alligator there, I know.
And that's coming into the new budget year. Y'all are gonna see me asking for a pretty considerable amount of money for Cameron smoke
Yeah.
testing, for assessment of sewer lines. Because that is the next step on the agreed order. Which
Good.
we've been doing it the whole time, but we've really got to ramp it up a little bit if we want to get out of the agreed order. I guess pretty much what I'm getting at tonight on the Kentucky Dam sewer is they requested a meeting with the water board just so we could all see their intentions. And if everybody's good with it, and if I'm good at asking this, if we could have a special call meeting with the state park, I think that would be great just to hear where they're coming from, hear what they're wanting to offer, and that way, whenever we get down the road, we might be able to make a good recommendation to the mayor
Right.
and.
Well, I like your
have
red
thought of
flag on the I&I from there. It would worry me
Yeah.
because of the way they neglect the infrastructure.
Yes.
When you have overflows, I would be worried about that place, it coming at us.
Well, my worry is once we take it, then it's our problem, but they don't worry about that.
Yes, that's the next issue for
I
me.
mean,
They would be glad to hand us all the problems.
Yes, and
If
I
they,
do have a concern of, I'm taking the lift station that's between J Max and Cypress Creek on
No,
62.
the lift station is, our 62 lift
Yeah.
station is right before you go, let's see, where the bridge is going over Cypress Creek?
Yeah.
That pull in
Yeah.
right before the bridge, that's our,
Okay. If something happened that line wouldn't carry, does it go under 24?
the force main does, yes.
Yeah.
The force main does go underneath 24. That line should carry it. That's a 5-inch HDPE line. It was oversized when it was put in. The flows that they're potentially talking about could be, upwards of. I'm not gonna answer that right now, because I'll get the numbers wrong. That pumping line has a lot of capacity. If that pumping line can't handle it, it's HDPE. We can pipe burst it and run a bigger line through it. Not us, we don't have that capability, but with it being HDPE, a 5-inch HDPE line, you could pipe burst it and run a 6-inch through there. It does, 8-inch. There's mechanical means of doing that without digging up the line itself. So there are options out there if we do need to upsize that.
Now that pump station you're talking about feeding into is the one where we just put into the pump.
Yes, that Cypress Lakes pump station. And Cypress Lakes is already set up. I would have a hard time believing that we would have to do any upgrades to Cypress Lakes because that station is set up for big, heavy flows. Cypress Lakes lift station never overflows. Cypress Lake Lift Station never calls us for high water. I have never seen that lift station run both pumps at the same time. I'm glad it doesn't, because I don't think we could afford the electric bill if it did. But I have never seen that station run with both pumps at the same time. I feel very confident there's plenty of capacity in that station. We would still have our engineers check that by all means. Because it may, with that kind of flow, it may throw us on the wrong end of the pump curve, and it may become a very inefficient lift station. So there are a lot of variables to look at. And I guess tonight, what I'm getting at is, I think this is worth a further look with them, and I would like to get together as a board and discuss it with them, because there is a very good potential for a revenue source that would really take us far.
Well, we've already got a relationship here, because of the alcohol more than less, but I'm all for continue to support the relationship.
Yes.
But I don't want you to put us in a position that creates headaches that
Yeah.
are going to be very expensive 5,
That's-
10 years from now, 20 years from now.
And I'm pretty definite on this, no matter what, we would not take over their collection system at all, no matter what. The lift station that they're gonna build, that's a discussion point by all means. Ideally, let them maintain it and we just make the money off of it, ideally. But I don't know if from the meeting we had with them, they definitely don't want to maintain it. And they know that I really don't want to maintain it, so,
There's the rub.
if it came down to, well, we're just gonna keep on operating our sewer plant if you don't maintain the lift station, yes, we need to look at maintaining the lift station.
Okay.
So,
Special call meeting. I think they said they'd be available Wednesday.
yeah, they were asking for Wednesday, the 23rd, sometime later afternoon. So,
I can't do
March.
that.
Okay.
I can't be here.
I can't hear.
okay, well then, at that point, I'd say let's just reschedule.
Would you say,
This, I
Mike, you couldn't be
can't,
there?
this Wednesday, the 23rd.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm out of town, sorry.
so big revenue source, y'all just up and over.
No, I'm dealing with insurance,
Okay.
church up there, and so we gotta meet with the insurance units, and we've had a nightmare getting it nailed down. I don't want to change it.
I'll reach out to them, let them know that Wednesday, the 23rd doesn't work for us.
What kind of dates would y'all have available?
I just happen to be on vacation that week. Other than that, I don't necessarily have anything on my calendar in the next few
Wednesdays
weeks.
are not a good night for me, but
Okay,
other than that,
Wednesdays are
yeah.
usually not good for you.
Okay.
We know you don't have a laugh, so.
That's right, number dog.
Let's be honest.
I have to meet around other meetings.
I'm good.
But
Run off in the middle of May again to Belgium more than likely, but
All right, well, we'll
Anything
try to get a
late May
date
would be
and
bad
let
for
you
me.
all know.
I'll reach out to them and see what they have available, and
definitely interested.
And
in
it would
it.
have to be.
Still interested, I am.
Definitely have to be a regular meeting, right? A special call meeting, Greg, to be
It's not on the third.
open and up,
Yeah, just did a special meeting.
because it'd be at least 3 of us or anyway, so that'd make it.
Oh,
quorum,
yeah,
and so,
right.
yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm
Yeah.
clean.
and their big concern is that the preliminary report, is done, and, they're looking at putting this thing out to bid pretty quick, and, they just want to see our intentions and, not signing papers by any means, but just see our intentions before they get too far down the line, so. Because once the rehab's done, then, they're either gonna have to put a lift station in or rebuild their sewer plant, so that's kind of where they're at.
Well, I'm not on their timeline. They've been dragging this out for 18 months, 2 years. We've been talking about this a long time,
So it's
so,
been 3, close to 4
Yeah,
years.
it's been several years.
but I know how the state
It's been
works.
longer than that since
Since I
first
started down here.
Okay. Been longer than I think.
so are you gonna try to get another date, or y'all gonna go ahead and meet with the three?
No,
I'm
no,
getting
we're
another
gonna get
date.
another
Okay,
day.
okay.
We'll just say the board.
Try to do it in April, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
Uh, On the agenda, we're running close to 6 o'clock with our guests and everything. I don't know, do we want to? How much longer can we proceed?
The cat's call, so.
Okay. All right,
That's my priority.
one quick thing that I was gonna go through and show was to get on to a 5-year plan that we had that Roger put together. Was gonna have us take a look at that, but in lieu of that, due to time constraints, we're gonna start working on the 22-23 budget coming up. So I would like to appoint Barry and Bill to work with Silas on the sewer capital plan. Start working on that, getting that together, and then Steve and Michael, if you two would work with Silas on the water and sewer plan. And then Silas and I will work on the equipment and miscellaneous equipment and putting the dollars and cents together on the financials and so forth. And you all can get together whenever, as long as it's just the two of you all and Silas, then that doesn't qualify as a.
Plan on whole big meetings at Cracker Barrel, just let everybody know what's right.
Sounds good.
So we can do that. We had, let me get a quick feedback on the new water meter rate. I know there were some people complaining. Has that been a lot or little or?
Silas has been up there more with that than I have. The only thing that I've seen is people think that they don't understand that it's just $4. You know, they say my water bill is so much higher. And I was like, well, then you used more water because
Right.
the only increase was $4 on your.
Are they
On your
read
water
more
bill.
water?
We've had a lot more confusion than anger,
I think
by
so.
all means.
Yeah.
Once I've been able to explain to the people that that was just $4 flat, and we've had a lot of people, I don't know what happened. We've had a lot of people that had leaks and then the $4 went on top of it and they thought their bill went up
Yeah.
$50. But overall, it's been more confusion than anger.
Leaks, has the meters helped with that, or it's just happenstance they've had leaks?
Happenstance that they've had leaks.
Okay.
The cold snap didn't help anything.
Right.
The cold snap really didn't help. I can tell you from an operations standpoint that right now we're getting every meter in the city and outside the city read in one day.
Good.
So,
And you got them all installed?
no,
Still.
we still have approximately 100 that are outside city limits.
Okay,
I do have a handful in town that have to be dug up and the whole new set and put in, broke stops, things along that line. But I'm able to send 2 guys out on the golf cart, read their old routes, takes them less than a day, and then I'm able to read the driving route in a day.
okay.
It's a full day. I mean, it's 8-9 hours, but so much better.
Good.
Did we see an increase in water usage once or is that too early?
It's too early. Give me about 6 months. I would like to look at a floating average before I answer that. Initially, I'm gonna say what I have seen right now is close to 1%. Close to 1%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. So initially, I'm gonna say close to 1%, but we'll talk about that in about 6 months. Because we had a lot of busted lines because it was cold. So
Mhm. Yeah, okay, and then
When did the $4 go on? Was that this month?
Tuesday, February.
February, okay.
So, you know, those bills were just, I had until the 10th of March
You know,
Yeah,
that's
we've
the-
already
when the
paid you,
majority pay,
Right.
so it wouldn't show up in this yet.
Right.
What kind of impact are we having with the inflation and deliveries and?
Very bad. That's why you're seeing a lot of higher numbers on our budget tracking. Right now I have no option. I'm keeping our inventory up a lot higher than we ever have. I'm ordering stuff, meter setters. I used to be able to get meter setters the same week I ordered them. I've been waiting 10 weeks and still haven't seen them. Copper fittings are very hard to come by. We're keeping our inventory up much higher than we ever have, and it's costing much more to keep it up. So I don't have a percentage. If you want me to guess, I'd say we're seeing anywhere from 15 to 25% increase, but that's a guess. Ford meter box, they just had another increase. Luckily, our salesman called us before the increase, and I was able to put an order in and lock in the price. Who knows when I see the fittings? It's getting bad.
But we have our CPI June, and so July will adjust.
No,
Right.
it's the first of the year.
It's already.
It's
It went out in
October.
We just
January.
adjusted,
It's
what was it
October to
that we
October.
adjusted it?
Yeah.
3.73.
Something like that.
So it won't be till January and we'll,
January next year.
Okay. So it just gives you an idea of what we're running into there. Quickly, Steve, got anything?
No.
Barry?
No, just generators. What about, we were looking at generators for,
Yes.
or a rebuild or?
Yes, I don't exactly remember what we were talking about, but we've had a lot done to generators there in the past 3 months. Going into next year's budget, probably not gonna happen, but I would like to ask for a new generator for the well field. Generators are very expensive right now and keep going up in price. I did spend some money on the generator at the well field. We ordered a new radiator for it, had it serviced top to bottom. The new radiator's not been installed yet, but having it completely serviced and gone through, it seems to be running a little bit better. Hopefully that new radiator fixes the overheating problem, but it's still too small of a generator. But all of our generators have been serviced. They're all in great working condition. But the well field generator is a concern.
Okay. Michael, you got anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Bill?
no, I think I've got all my questions built in today. Thank you.
Greg, you good?
think so.
Linda, you good?
We have negotiated that.
That's what I wanna hear,
At
yeah.
least with,
Yeah, the 100,
so-and-so, with rail services.
are you going to give us some numbers at some point?
Same, it's the numbers you guys suggested, it's 500,
Okay,
then go, every 5 years, go up 125.
great.
Then we don't have to pay attention to it, it just happens automatically.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
And the mayor.
how does it happen automatically? What do you mean? That's kind of what happened before is we kind of didn't pay
No,
attention to
we
it.
were supposed to renegotiate
Ah,
periodically. This time, it's an automatic increase of just a flat 125 every 5 years.
okay,
And Gene wanted a get out of it provision, and they agreed. So,
awesome.
good.
Very good.
So we'll give 90 days notice, and if anybody needs out of it, you can get out of it in 90 days. That's ideal for us. I was uncomfortable with 20 years. Gene was uncomfortable with 20 years, and we want to make sure that we don't wind up with maintenance responsibilities and all kinds of mess. And so as long as we can get out of it in 90 days, we're okay.
Great.
Yeah. that works. Okay, good. All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Steve Freeman, motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Okay, Barry, second. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you, Silas.